What is going on, ladies and gentlemen? Flying Dutchman 101 here, and today I want to do something entirely different. And I want to talk about a little bit about the mixed reviews overall, and basically talk about this game in general, and why it's getting so much flack, and why it's not being the most favorited from that of the original Dead Space franchise, known to be one of the amazing franchise known to that type of era of gaming back in the day on the PS3 or Xbox 360. So hopefully we can make sense of everything here. However, I do have my comments and my viewership turned off. So if there are any viewers at all, I'll be able to find out eventually later going through the YouTube app on my phone. So anyways, too much further ado, let's get into this. Now, I can understand the number one thing I am actually finally agreeing to is the fact that the melee in this game is not the greatest. I think that they could have done something without it, in my personal opinion. I understand what the factor is when it comes to the melee, but I just feel like sometimes it just doesn't always work when it wants to. And that's my number one complaint about it as well. So there we go. I thought I'd mention that. Number two, I will say this game definitely feels like that a little bit of a Dark Souls game because of the dodging. And because, when you play the Dark Souls or the Demon Souls games, there's a lot of dodging involved. And so that's why I'm saying it's like, I think the dodging in the Callisto Protocol definitely feels like that of a Dark Souls game. And quite honestly, it feels like that it was a lazy part of side of things, in my personal opinion. But I'm not trying to do anything I'm not condoning Striking Distance Studios. I think they did a magnificent job on this game with its lighting, its infrastructure, and how it just makes the game so eerily gorgeous in a very supernatural and horrific type of way, and I think that's what's really good about this game. Now, number three, what I will say is the reviews. There will be other things about the Callisto Protocol that I do have some other minor complaints about, but that's going to be close to the end of this video eventually. So, with the mixed reviews, I've not watched, but I have heard about the mixed reviews of the Callisto Protocol, and I think what really made this game so mixed is because a lot of people had their expectations very, very high. And another one of the reasons why a lot of people didn't like this game as much is because they are so used to, or that are reminiscent of, the Dead Space series. Now, I will say is that I do believe that when it comes to the Dead Space games and being it compared to the Callisto Protocol, they have some similarities in terms of the combat, other than, like the dodging or the melee, but the combat is a little bit, it feels like a little bit of the same to that of what the Dead Space franchise did in terms of that aspect. And I think that's one of the biggest reasons why. Another thing that I've understood is that when it comes to the reviewers as well, whether if you're just like Kotaku, Polygon, IGN, Game Informer, or whatever, mind you, I think it has to do with the fact that, these professional reviewers are only putting out their own personal opinions of those reviews as they see fit, and that's their job. But another thing, what I was mentioning in my stream the other day while I was streaming this game for at least for about a half hour, I was saying it's like, I feel like that when it comes to these professional reviewers, they do not have the God-given right to tell gamers out there, especially like me, to tell us to either buy or not buy. That is the wrong way of doing things, because you guys are professional reviewers. What I'm saying is that you shouldn't. I feel like that, you guys think that you have the right to tell gamers to not buy this game or to buy this game. That's not your call. I believe it's the gamer's call to where they want to have their own type of judgment or opinion of what games they want to play as they see fit. And I think that's one of the reasons why this game got maybe not just overhyped a little bit, but it was the high expectations, and that's what happens as well, or what happened as well, because of the mixed reviews. Now, I'm going to go back to a little bit of the Callisto Protocol here, and the other complaints that I've also really kind of noticed as well, other than what I've previously stated. Now, what I will say, I think this game is still hard as hell. It doesn't matter what difficulty that you're on, whether if you're on easy, medium, or the highest difficulty. This game is meant to be hard. And what I'm saying is that comparing that to the Dead Space franchise, they were hard to a certain degree, but at the same time is that they were not as hard as what the Callisto Protocol does. Because like I said, when it comes to the Callisto Protocol, it's a very hard game. You have to understand the mechanics a little bit more as you go later in the game, or much later in the game and towards the finishing game itself. But overall, when it comes to the Dead Space games, you didn't really have that type of conceptualization. And I feel like that the Dead Space franchise did a very good job with that type of difficulty aspect in terms of what the Callisto Protocol did. Now, going back to what I thought about the Callisto Protocol in general, like I said, this game is fantastic. I love the combat. I do like the combat to a certain degree but the melee, it needs to be either removed or it needs to be a little bit more refined. I feel like the melee is I think in a way it feels like it's a little bit lazy, but like I said, it's not as bad as I thought it would be. But yes, I do believe that it needs to be a little refined or removed overall completely. But that's just my personal opinion. Say what you want, it doesn't matter. So now, I guess this is a little bit kind of like a little bit of a live review on this game. And the reason why I decided to want to do this is because I feel like that it's okay to have another person's perspective or a voice to be heard. And I think that but like I said, I truly think that this is one magnificent game made by a company called Striking Distance Studios. Glenn Schofield, you did an amazing job on the game. Bravo. I give you a lot of credit for this game. But there is a part in this game where I'm at right now. I'm getting very close to the ending as far as I'm concerned, or as far as I know, is that there is a boss, that there is a boss battle in this game. There are actually two bosses. There's a mini boss, and then there's a final boss. And going forward, I think when it came to the Dead Space franchise, there was a big boss battle in the first one. And I think in the second one or the third one, I do believe that there was a boss battle as well. But they were hard, but they were not excruciatingly hard like it is in the Callisto Protocol. And I think when it comes to the Callisto Protocol, as far as not just the combat or like the gunplay as it were, but when it comes to the boss battles, if you're going to have a boss battle, do it at the end, not close to it. I think that really makes it more frustrating. I understand where the difficulty is concerned, excuse me, but I think it just does. Sometimes I feel like it just doesn't work in a game like this. Like I said, I do believe that there are many ways. I'm not saying I'm not a video game designer. I'm just saying it's like I understand when it comes to the gaming, maybe possibly a little bit of the gaming industry. It's like, if you want to make a game that's going to have boss battles, just do it at the end of the game, not close to it. I think that's a really bad way, in my personal opinion, of people not wanting to play your game anymore. I think it's like I said, it's just my own personal opinion, and it's a poor choice of doing something like that in the first place. But like I said, it is what it is. I want to talk a little bit about the gameplay, other than, like the melee, as I previously mentioned. I do love the gameplay in this game. I think the gameplay in this game is really cool. Not just because of the aspect or the concept of what the gameplay does in the Callisto Protocol. I think it does a really good job of, it's not as clunky as I thought it would be. The reloading system is a little bit slow, but I kind of expected that, I suppose. But overall, I think it's a really good way of having maybe possibly a little bit of that little anticipation, but at the same time, it feels like it works, but it doesn't sometimes, though, too. It has a little bit of conflicting type of combat mechanic, especially in the Callisto Protocol. What I will say about the gunplay, though, going back to the gunplay, as I previously mentioned as well, I love the guns. I picked up the assault rifle recently. It's really good. The only kind of small complaint I do have about the assault rifle is the fact that It's a burst rifle. It's not like a full-on assault rifle. So if you're gonna say that, if you're gonna have the schematic saying assault rifle, it should be automatic. It should be fully automatic, not a burst. My personal opinion, I'm not a big fan of the burst rifles. They're okay, but I understand that to where, as far as the damage is concerned, when it comes to the bursting rifles like that specifically. But like I said, if you're going to have an assault rifle, it should be fully automatic, not burst. But that's just, like I said, that's just my personal opinion. But overall, I love the gunplay in this game. I think the gunplay in this game is fantastic. It's one of the best I've seen, especially in the past predecessors of this Dead Space franchise. Other than talking about the melee combat a little bit, like I said, it is a little bit clunky. Going back to that just a little bit here. But overall, it's not bad. But in a way, it kind of does a little bit have that in it. It does take a little bit of the experience out of the horror element within the Callisto Protocol. And what I will say is that I do love the horror element within this game. There have been times to where I haven't really literally jumped out of my seat, but overall, I had some good jump scares. It was awesome. I love that adrenaline rush. So it's pure gold to me, in my personal opinion. But either or. Okay, now since we basically talked about the Callisto Protocol, I want to go back and talk about basically the reviews that this game has been getting. I understand where the reviews are coming from and why this game is getting mixed reviews from other, like media outlets like I said, IGN, Kotaku, Polygon, Game Informer. I get all that, but like I said, it's what I said, and I'm going to stand by it. I don't want to repeat myself here, so I just want to put that out there real quick as well. So anyways, this is the Flying Dutchman 101. Thank you for tuning in. Greatly appreciate it. But if you have any further questions on my channel, please put them in the comment section below. I'll be more than happy to have a good civilized conversation with y'all. And have a good rest of your Sunday. And I greatly appreciate for tuning in. Have a good rest of your day. Peace.